Hey everybody, welcome back to Spirit Made Me Do It. I am Marcy for those of you just joining. So happy to have you here. Today we're going to talk about what it feels like to have communication with spirit. So let's see what that looks like. Hey friends, welcome back to Spirit Made Me Do It. So happy to have you here. We are looking into what it feels like to have a guide and the reason that, or to work with guides. And the reason that we are looking into that today is because I got a nice little email. Some of you get the assignment. Some of you have been writing things to help with the growth of our community. So this is a little thing here. What we're talking about today is because of an email that we got from Patricia. And Patricia writes, can you explain, even in a short video, what spirit or working with spirit is? I know we are all spiritual beings, but when you talk about spirit and checking in with spirit, what do you personally mean? Thank you, Patricia. Patricia, thank you so much for asking that question. And I'm really glad that you did because it's different for everybody. All I can do is explain what happens with me, what it feels like for me, because the journey and the connection is all very personal and it's very different for everyone. So hopefully this will strike a familiar chord with some people, or they'll say, oh, okay, I've done that. I've done that before. So let me talk about what it feels like for me. I mean, there are lots of different things that I feel during the day. I choose to live a very magical, very loving life. So to me, everything is magic. Everything is a beautiful sign. Everything is a communication between me and the earth and with spirit, my higher self, the collective conscience, my guides, my angels, however you look at it. I always say they because the information that I get feels like it's coming from a collective. It feels like it's coming from a group of people. Sometimes the information that I get is from what I call, one of my guides feels like a drunken writer. So it's a very different kind of energy that particular person is. I do not have a name for them. It's just a certain feeling that I get with them. Now, the feelings and communications can come in from all different ways. When I am channeling, what I call channeling, what feels like to me is channeling, it comes in from a different spot. If you could just follow the angles of my fingers, it comes in like right here, straight down here and inside here up to about this point. So it's like right in the back of my head where I feel the communication. Now, if they're really trying to get my attention, if it's something that is, that needs to be looked at right away. For instance, when I was younger, I kept getting periorbital cellulitis. This was in my early 30s. And so I'd go to the hospital. They would give me intravenous antibiotics, and that would normally take care of it. One time when I went in, I was living in Brockton at the time, and that is a teaching hospital. So I had a fairly fresh doctor come in and examine me, and I told him the situation, and he looked back at my history and saw the type of antibiotics I needed and was going to set me up with antibiotics. When he left the room, I heard in that spot, in a different voice, I heard CAT scan. Now, that person I call my drill sergeant because that person, whenever there's something I need to look at right away, comes in with a very strong voice from a different position in my head. So I knew that it was something that needed to be looked at immediately. So I told the doctor that I was getting a headache and I thought I should get a CAT scan because periorbital cellulitis can easily lead to meningitis. So they gave me a CAT scan, and they discovered I had a tumor on my pituitary gland, which was almost on my optical nerve. So it was a good thing they found it when they did. Otherwise, I could have been driving down the road and all of a sudden gone blind. So that's one way that I get communication. And like I said, when they're trying to get my attention, they do it in a different voice. Everything is very, very subtle for me. The information that I get is very subtle, and it comes in different areas. In one of my longer videos, I talked about, it's the one with my mom and I in the back of the police cruiser. I talk about how I knew that we were going to be in an accident that day. And I talked about the feeling that I got. That came in from a totally different place. That came right into my solar plexus is where I felt that. And I saw the words, which I usually do. When I get words that come in, I see the words as well. I saw the words. I felt, this is gonna sound crazy, I felt brown. I felt like I was in this brown room. I felt brown. That's the only way that I know how to describe it. I saw the color brown, I felt the color brown, I knew what was going to come, and I relaxed into the situation because I trusted my instincts, I trusted what I was hearing and what I was getting. I heard and saw the words. I didn't see the actual accident, but I heard and saw the words. So that was a really interesting experience. That came in for the first time that way. I've never seen that happen before for me. But usually what I get when I'm reading cards, if maybe it's somebody coming from the other side trying to connect, or if it's my guides coming in. But when I'm reading the cards, I see in the forefront of my head, right here, it's on this side, it's more to my right, and I see the words and I hear the words that I'm supposed to say. Sometimes I just get feelings. Okay, I'm really feeling that this is what this card means today, or I'm really feeling my guides want me to take a card off the bottom of the deck, or they're not done with me shuffling. The communication comes in many, many ways, and again, it's very, very subtle. And oftentimes it is in my own voice. If I'm reading somebody's cards and I hear something, it's in my own voice, but I know it's from somewhere else. Things just popping into your head, they're popping in from somewhere. It can come, the communication can come in when you're out and about, you're doing your shopping and you're trying to decide on whether or not you want a Chevy or a Subaru. And then all of a sudden you'll keep hearing somebody talk about how great the Subaru is. It's stuff like that. It's seeing a crow over and over and over again, knowing that that means something specific, that there is something that I need to be paying attention to when I get something from the outside like that, something that happens on an earthly place. I hope this makes sense to you. There are tons and tons of different ways that spirit, your guides, the collective, however it is, whatever you believe, whatever that feels like to you, there are many, many ways that these things can come in. It's really about paying attention and trusting. When you get that gut feeling, especially if you get that gut feeling right here, trust that. Trust that what's happening in your solar plexus and in your heart space, especially. So thank you for that question, Patricia. I hope that answered your questions. Please, if anybody else needs any more clarification, please let me know. I appreciate that. There were some things in the comments that I also received that I wanted to talk about. This is a little message, a little comment from my good friend Chitra, who I love you, girlfriend. And it says, I find that just a quiet, loving smile does wonders for the giver and the receiver. This is so, so very true. When you smile, you feel better. When you smile and somebody else returns that smile, you feel even better. Love is all about sharing, and a quiet, loving, encouraging smile is always a beautiful, beautiful thing. And Chitra, you have one of the most loving, warm smiles, and I'm so happy to have you in my life and in our community. Our intention of growing this community is really about putting more love into the world. And one of the ways that I like to do that is with the meditation. So I always do that towards the end of the videos in case some people aren't into meditation, and I get that. You don't have to do this, but it does a world of good for you and for others. others. Now, whenever I breathe in from my heart space, and I feel it coming in, and I visualize it coming in from the back, my back, and from my front, to get that full space of that loving energy. I close my eyes, I take my deep breath, I inhale for 3 or 4, I hold it for 3 or 4, then I exhale for 6 or 8. You want to exhale longer than what you have inhaled. What I do is I close my eyes, I get into that space, I connect my heart and my head with my breathing. I breathe in, hold it, release it, and when I release it, I always think of something that brings me joy. I always hold that feeling of love and joy. And then when you blow out, when you exhale, push all of that love and joy out into the world. Just push out that love. So let's do that real quick, okay? Inhale for 4, hold it for 4, exhale for 8. Do that a couple of times, and then focus on your heart space. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, and now when you exhale, blow out that love and that joy and visualize it going out into the world. Going into the world itself, into the earth, and then coming up around into everybody's feet. Push that love out. Do this a couple of times. And the challenge for today, to help us all move through our spiritual journey more quickly, my challenge for you today is when you listen, this really helps with clairaudience. When you listen, just sit quietly and then listen to what's directly coming in, the closest noises that you hear. And then move it out. What's the closest noise that you hear at the edge of your property or the edge of your room? And then put it out again even further. What is the closest noise that you're hearing? Somebody just stepped in right here. It's male. I'm getting Jonathan. Love to Susan. I don't normally get this. But if you've lost someone named Jonathan and your name is Susan or Sue or Susie or anything even close to that, John, Jonathan, Jack, anything close to that, that was a message for you. But do this clairaudience exercise, and it'll really help you to notice more things. And that's really what this is about. Your connection is really about noticing more. It's about paying attention. It's about living in the now and remembering that whatever you're focused on right now is what you are manifesting for yourself. So keep your thoughts clear, keep your heart clear, do everything from the goodness of your heart. Push out the love, people, and use your words kindly. Talk to you soon.